Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinabadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. At the very beginning of this chapter, Lord Krishna defines who is a yogi, the meditator. The word yogi is a very commonly used word nowadays because many people think that anybody who practices yoga is a yogi. But Vedanta does not consider that anybody who does the physical exercise called yoga can be a yogi. By definition, yogi is one who has decided to unite oneself with the highest self. Yuj is the root word for the word yogi, and even in the English word yoke, to unite, to engage, comes from the same root. Therefore, a person who has decided to let go of his limited, conditioned, small, little ego with the unconditioned, unlimited, universal presence. And such a person who is eager to engage in any practice to unite with the wholesome, universal presence is a yogi. And traditionally, meditation is the method or the way to reach that highest union. Therefore, who is a yogi, the meditator, is a very appropriate question with which this chapter begins. Lord Krishna has defined yogi as he who has anxiety-free mind to start with. His mind should have already been trained to engage in all activities without any anxiety about the results in the mind. This is the reason why he elaborately discussed the practice of karma yoga. Asakta sarvakareshu. In all activities, he remains unattached. This unattached performance of action does not mean he becomes indifferent to what he does. He takes all efforts to complete his task. Therefore, he says, ready to complete his commitments with enthusiasm. He doesn't remain actionless. He doesn't remain lazy. He doesn't fail to fulfill his commitments. As against the common belief or normal belief that a yogi is one who is escapist from this world, who does not want to engage in daily life and wants to be free by just sitting in a quiet corner. As against that, Lord Krishna gives a revolutionary idea here That a yogi is one who fulfills all his commitments with a cheerful mind, but totally detached. This detachment in the mind, anxiety-free mind, is the hallmark of a yogi. We have seen in our own Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, who had taken up all various projects in his hand, engaging in all of them and making others engage as well. And he always was a very enthusiastic, very excited about doing things, even if he knows at some point of time it's not going to work, or sometimes the circumstances are not conducive enough for the particular project to succeed. Even then, he would not give up. He would say, let us see the result. Let us see what is going to happen. Let us put our best foot forward. So thus is a yogi. That is the nature of a yogi. He is not afraid of the results. He is not afraid of failures either. It is very important that today's youth should understand. Otherwise, we will be dying with the depression medicine all the time. I have seen personally many youngsters who either afraid of taking their projects and commitments, or having taken up, they become extremely anxious, stressed, and become victims to sleepless nights or sleeping pills. The whole idea of Bhagavad-Gita here in this chapter 6 is to give us the right guidelines for how to become a yogi while being busy in this world. Thus, he says, anxiety-free mind, at the same time ready to complete his commitments with great enthusiasm. Continuing, how is that he was able to engage in action with a detached mind? He is able to see his thoughts as different from himself. This we have discussed in the previous presentations as well. You are not your thoughts. You have thoughts. You can watch your thoughts. You can feel your thoughts. You can understand why it is coming. You can understand how it is playing. You can also understand how it is dying. It appears in your mind. It dances for a while, and then it just dies away. If you are able to witness those thoughts detachedly as it arises and dances about and then disappears, a person who is able to gain this amount of strength to witness his thought without participating in that, such a man alone can become a yogi. A yogi is one who is not afraid of the world, as I said before, not afraid of his mind either. The thoughts are coming. We have seen in the previous presentation how he is using the method of thought parade, watching his thoughts from a standpoint as a witness and allowing the mind to unfold itself. And thus he has the control over the mind through engaging in the world with great nobility. His intentions are pure, clean, and he puts his best foot forward, giving maximum efficiency in the work, but expecting no return of personal nature. Thus, a yogi is a man of action. At the same time, he is a man who is ready for contemplation. Such a mind, when it works in this world, it is cheerful, happy, enthusiastic, and while it is sitting in solace, in solitude, it is in its own exclusive practice, quiet, calm, serene, collected, integrated, one-pointed, and focused. That is a yogi. And he is capable of keeping his mind at will in stillness. And this is due to a very good practice which he had over many days, probably many months, probably many years, and Bhagavan Krishna would even say many lifetimes. The stillness of the mind is not easy to get. It needs a lot of practice. Therefore, the next question is, what is stillness of the mind and how to practice it? We must recognize that the stillness of the mind is not an arrested mind. As against the definition that is given in the second aphorism or sutra in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the definition of yoga is yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. It is arresting of the mind. While Bhagavan Krishna also comes closer to this point, but he doesn't say arrest your mind. He doesn't say stop your mind. He doesn't say let go of your mind. No, watch your mind. Be aware of your mind. Whenever the mind runs away from the point of focus, bring it back. And thus, therefore, the stillness of the mind is not getting rid of or destroying the mind by any other means. The mind has to die by itself. As we have seen before, thoughts make the mind. Without thoughts, there is no mind. If thoughts make the mind, more thoughts, forceful and stronger is the mind. Less number of thoughts, weaker the mind. When the mind is weak, it is easy to bring it to a grinding halt. Not by force, not with the forceful stoppage. It is by reducing the intensity of thoughts, reducing the quantity of thoughts, increasing the quality of thoughts, redirecting the mind to a higher altar. It is possible that the mind naturally come to a grinding halt. Therefore, how to practice the stillness? First of all, as Krishna would put it, consciously become free of demands of the mind and the senses. After all, the senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, all these various organs of perception, as well as speech, hands, legs, reproductive organ, anus, all these things are the organs of action. All these 10 organs have their input and output from the mind. While eyes are seeing, it is the mind which is receiving the stimuli. If the ears are listening, again the mind is receiving the stimuli, the information, and so on. Similarly, when the speech is taking place, when the hand is grabbing and the feet are walking, it is the mind that is making it happen. So therefore, receiving the information through the sense organs of perception is also the mind. Engaging the organs of action in the world is also the action of the mind. Therefore, when we are capable of making our mind quiet, naturally the sense organs will become quiet. Or the other way around, the sense organs are relatively controlled, not to engage too much in this world or not to receive too much of information from the world. Naturally the mind gains a certain amount of inner quietude. So consciously become free of demands of the mind and the senses. This naturally happens to us during sleep. But in the state of sleep, the mind has become quiet, not out of your willingness to make it quiet, but out of exhaustion, tiredness. Whereas a yogi who is able to bring the mind to himself and not to engage in either in the world of action through the organs of action, nor receiving the stimuli from the world outside through the organs of perception, for which he has a higher altar to dedicate oneself. That is the reason why when you know that your mind can be an enemy, only when you don't know how to handle. Your mind is surely an enemy when we do not know how to handle it. Naturally, the mind will be running out either to receive the stimuli from the world or to engage in the action. And thus, when we live unconsciously, when we live thoughtlessly, when we live mindlessly, when we live as per the demands and the dictates of the senses, our mind is the greatest enemy. That is the reason why when we find that when we decide to do something, and the same mind which decides to do is the same mind which denies to do also. Many times you keep an alarm to get up early in the morning, the mind is doing the same. Okay, I want to get up next morning at 5 o'clock to sit and study. The same mind next morning at 5 o'clock is not ready to get up. It makes you lazy and says, okay, I will sleep 1 more hour. Who is saying this? The same mind. Therefore, the mind, when it is not under your control, it is an enemy. When at the same time, when we are able to regulate the mind and its thought, mind means the thoughts, regulate the thoughts with the help of the higher self. This is a very interesting verse which we find in Bhagavad-Gita, and oft-quoted verse from this chapter 6 by Gurudev, that is, Uddhared Atmana Atmanam Na Atmanam Avasadayed Atmaiva Hi Atmano Bandhuhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. You have to lift yourself by yourself. So there are two selves that are talked about. Lift yourself by yourself. When you have fallen down, let us say due to whatever reason, there was this little oil spill on the floor and you did not notice it, and when you are walking, you suddenly slipped and fell on the floor. How do you get up? Without the help of the floor, you cannot get up. It is the floor that made you fall. It is the same floor holding on to which you will get up. In the same way, the mind, when it is not consciously engaged, it falls. It falls for its habits. It falls for the prey of its own fancies in the world. It falls for indulgences. And the same mind which has fallen in the world is the same mind which can be used to lift yourself. Here is where we need to make the difference between lower self and the higher self. Lower self is the mind full of habits, emotions, and all its preconceived notions, prejudices, likes, dislikes, etc. Higher self is the one which is aware of the goal, aware of its final purpose, aware of its reason why one has to become a better. It is the higher self which is looking for progress. It is the higher self which has a reason to move forward. And therefore, higher self is referred as intellect and the lower self is called as mind. Intellect has conviction, whereas mind has only emotion. Intellect has faith, mind has belief. Intellect has vision, mind has only action. Therefore, without the vision, an action is a futile effort. Without the conviction, mind is only going by its own fanciful emotion. Without the firm faith in something, it is a blind belief of the mind. Therefore, when we are studying, when we are listening, we are addressing to the intellect. The mind may protest. Mind will protest because it doesn't want to let go. And therefore, when it is said, Uddhared Atmana Atmanam, lift yourself by yourself, use the intellect, the convincing intellect, the faithful intellect, the intellect that has vision, use that intellect to lift the mind. And that is the reason why this verse is most beautiful. And it is applicable to us in all different circumstances. When somebody has said something to you, somebody has caused pain to you, some kind of a disappointment you have in your life, you can remain there, lying there, depressed and unhappy, agitated, blaming the world. You can do that. But it is the intellect that would say, if at all you are able to listen to the intellect within you, say, hey, give up. It is not necessary. It is not worth spending time in this regrets and guilt. It is not worth spending the time in this kind of depression and failure. Get up. We can do it better tomorrow. Let us do the work today. This intellect is the one which gives you the inspiration, enthusiasm, the vision, the ability to let go things and keep going. Thus, therefore, the lower self has to be constantly lifted up by the higher self. And when the mind becomes your friend, when it listens to the higher self and becomes your friend, you will discover the inner stillness. It is the beautiful union of the higher self called the intellect and the lower self called the mind. When they come together in integration, there is no conflict within. And that conflict-free mind is a still mind. It's a serene mind. It's a quiet mind. And therefore, Krishna says, this quiet mind is essential to start meditation. If there is inner conflict, if there is inner turmoil, if there is an inner war between what you know and what you do, what you have as your understanding and the actions are not in in cohesively in line with what you know, such a inner conflict will lead to great amount of struggle within, and you will find the mind as the greatest enemy. The next important topic which Lord Krishna picks up is knowledge and wisdom. What is the difference between these two terms? Many times we think that these two are one and the same. It's interesting, somebody said, where is wisdom? We have lost when we are lost in knowledge. When you send your children to school, or when somebody goes to school, the endless hours the child, the boy or the girl, or you yourself spend so much time in the learning of many different subjects. But we are buried in learning, and very rare occasion we find our learning turns to become our own personal understanding which we practice. One boy was there, he was doing research, and he spent almost 12 to 14 hours every day in the laboratory, and he thought that he is spending a lot of time in the laboratory and therefore he is doing very productive work. His guiding professor one day walked into his laboratory and asked, how long you stay here per day? He proudly said, 12 to 13 to 14 hours this day, sir. Oh, then when do you think? So thinking about what you know leads you to practice and gain wisdom. So theory is knowledge, experience is wisdom. Many people are content and happy only with the theory part of it. But Krishna makes it clear in Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 6, very clearly says, Jnana Vijnana Triptatma. Jnanam means knowledge, Vijnanam is wisdom. And many times we find that people who have scholarly understanding, they have gained a lot of understanding through many different commentaries on Bhagavad-Gita or many other scriptures, and they can give endless hours of talk. But in their personal life, you do not see any transformation at all. They still are angry, upset, jealous and greedy, fighting for name, fame, fighting for some recognition, and writing books only to make sure that his name is spread, more money is gained. Such scholars have theoretical knowledge, but experience is zero. Therefore, Krishna very clearly says that a meditator is one who has decided to put his knowledge into practice. That's why we said that earlier, meditation is the way to experiment what you know and reach your goal. If you have a book which gives all the different recipes and you go on reading it, will you be satiating or removing your hunger? Your hunger will not go by reading a book of recipes. You have to roll up your sleeves and start cooking and practice it. And your cooking, if it is all coming out all right, and finally you sit down and enjoy your meal. That is the result of that knowledge of cooking. In the same way, when one has theoretically understood everything, if he or she has not decided to practice it through meditation, the knowledge remains only as a bookish knowledge, vicarious, external. It's not your personal experience. So Krishna makes it clear that meditation is for gaining that wisdom by experimenting your knowledge. And in the world outside, what we see is variety. The world is full of variety. But the knowledge that Bhagavad-Gita gives and Upanishad gives is that in spite of looking at the varieties of things out in the world, the vision should be to look at the unity of everything. And wisdom dawns only when we see the commonness of everything, the oneness of everything. Wisdom is that which makes no difference. Even though eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, all other equipments that we have, including the mind, is only interested in the field of variety. And it's called variety entertainment. It wants the variety. It wants to see beautiful things. It wants to hear beautiful songs. It wants to enjoy beautiful tastes. Yes, nothing wrong. But the underlying the whole experience should be that when we decide to look at what is common in everything, what is underlying oneness of everything, we realize that there is something which is present in all, but camouflaged by the variety. Just like, for example, you wear different kinds of dresses for different occasions. When you are going for a party, you wear a formal suit or formal dress. When you are going for a game, you want to watch a NFL game, you don't wear coat and suit and go there. You wear a t-shirt and jeans and then a cap and then go there and enjoy it. If you are going for a walk in the beach, you don't wear shoes and go. You wear a slipper and you wear a shorts and you wear a hardly either in some t-shirt or nothing, and then you just walk because you want to enjoy the sun, enjoy the warmth of the sun in the beach. So every occasion you change your clothes according to the need. In the same way, even as you change your clothes from occasion to occasion, you are the same. You are the same person. In the same way, there is the underlying oneness, even though the appearances are many. Appearances are different. Let us say that when you are walking on the beach, your official friend who has seen you only in coats and the suit and the formal dress, and he happens to be also walking, and he looks at you, hey, you! He could recognize you in spite of the fact that he has never seen you in that dress. Why? Because you are the same, even though you are wearing a different dress. In the same way, when a yogi is capable of seeing that oneness in all living beings, in spite of the world being variety, he will not lose his attention. Therefore, spirituality does not admit partiality. Bhagavan Krishna makes it very clear. Such an individual, even as he moves along with varieties of people, Suhrin, Mitra, Ari, Udasina, Madhyasya, Dveshya, Bandhushu, Sadhushu, Api Papeshu, Samabuddhihi Vishishyate. Whether it's a friend, a well-wisher, an indifferent individual, a person who is a mediator, or he may be a friend or a relative, he may be a saintly person or maybe a sinner. Whoever it be, a person who has gained the greater knowledge of oneness, wisdom, does not see any difference at all. Though he may behave with the person according to what the person may need to be treated, but underlying he knows whether he is a friend or a foe, he is a relative or a stranger, or this person is known or unknown, whether it is a person of higher status or lower status, he does not make any difference. I have come across a story, which is very interesting. Gurudev himself told once. There was a great saint when Gurudev was growing up. There was a great saint in his village or nearby his village known as Chattambi. His name was Chattambi, a very accomplished great master, and he had treated everybody same. He never had any partiality with anybody because he was so tuned to that spiritual self in him. He was not at all considering anybody who has a power and position as greater than somebody who is a laborer who is working on the field. He never had that partiality. But it so happened he became such a person of who commanded respect and reverence everywhere. And in that village once came a new police officer. And he heard about Chattambi, this saint. But he had no reverence to any of the saints and sages or sadhus. So therefore, he never bothered about, even interacting with him. But many people have said that you must invite this great saint at your home. And he was reluctant about that. And his wife also insisted that we must invite him one day to our home for a food. And therefore, he went to him and said, casually, he said, my wife has been insisting that you should be invited for a dinner at home. So I'm just calling you. You can come if you would like to. Looking at the attitude of this police officer, he did not feel any bad, because if he's an ignorant person who does not know, doesn't matter. So he said, by the way, when I am coming to your home, I would like to bring some of my friends also. Is that okay? And the police officer was a little proud. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. You can bring your friends. I can give food to anybody. I can afford it. So you can bring anybody you want. Are you sure? Yeah. Anyone. It's all right. Your friends. Anyone. Anything. All right. On the appointed date, when police officer and his wife were waiting at home, and the saint, that is Chattambi, he just walked slowly to their house and said, thanks for inviting. So I have come. So my friends are on their way. They are coming. So let us start the putting the leaves for the food. And as I sit down, I will invite my friends also to join me. So police officer was curious. Who are these people whom he is going to call? Anyway, so they prepared this table for, it's not a table, they used to sit down on the floor. So they spread that mat and then put the leaves, etc. And they were all sitting there. As Chattambi's saint sat down, and he said, okay, I am now going to call my friends. And he looked out to the door, towards the door, and said, come in. And there walked 4 dogs. Dogs walked, slowly came in, sat next to the leaf, each one of them, exactly the place where they have to sit. Police officer was so furious, so angry, upset. What are you doing here? What do you mean? Chattambi said, Chattambi Swamigal it's called. Chattambi Swamigal said, why? I told you. I'm going to invite my friends. Here are my friends. They are here. They are my friends. If you are not going to serve them, I am also not going to eat. What do you say? So his wife was also very frightened, and is such a saint, he may probably get upset. So she told her husband, just be quiet, let him do whatever he wants. And the police officer could not tolerate it. What do you mean? They are not human beings, and you are bringing dogs into my home for food? How dare you? You should have told me. I told you. I'm bringing my friends. These are your friends. I can't even imagine that. Chattambi Swamigal smiled and said, you know who these 4 dogs are? They were the police officers who served in this village, who insulted the saints. And they have turned to become dogs, and I'm inviting them. What's your problem? The police officer became very quiet. He didn't say a word. Later on, he realized that Chattambi Swamigal is such a powerful saint that he could, if he curses anybody, they will become dogs. That next birth. That much power he had. So, here it is not about the power and then how the saint is capable of doing. That's not the point. As far as the Chattambi Swamigal is concerned, no partiality, whether it's a human or otherwise. Everybody is to be seen from the angle of spirituality. The spiritual essence in all of them is the same. So, for a meditator who really wants to engage in deep meditation, while interacting with the world, he should not have any more disparity based upon who the person is, what his stature is, not even interested in the quality of the mind. Whether a person is a person of higher qualities of values, or a person who is not a man of good conduct or good values, as far as the saint is concerned, everyone is the same. And thus, such an individual is capable of maintaining his equanimity in all circumstances. Because the man of such inner knowledge of greater wisdom is a person who has discovered his inner bliss, self bliss, and that is the remedy for greed. Otherwise, the mind will constantly be running out into the world looking for things all the time. Its appetite is insatiable. The mind constantly looking for satisfaction. Some way or the other, it has to gain something constantly from the world. And it is demanding. It is constantly looking for things. Only when we have found the inner contentment and joy, the mind can become free of greed. And therefore, meditation is the method of going deeper into yourself to find the treasure house of bliss within us. And thus, the yogi engages in with greater attention alertness. And he also learned that out of that knowledge, that inner bliss is presently there in everyone's heart. When a person does not know that it is there already in his heart, he is looking for it outside. One who knows and discovered it within himself, he becomes content and quiet. Therefore, even as a yogi looks at the world, he understands people are looking for the same thing which he has already gained. And therefore, he would be treating them equally and without any disparity. Because when we look at a person of greed, a person who's looking for wealth, a person looking for great name and fame, we consider that what a person, why is he so egoistic, why is he so greedy, why is he so extrovert? No, he's looking for the same thing which everybody is looking for. For example, a person who is a musician, let us say, he is performing on the stage, and he is a musician, he is a commercial person. He demands a certain amount of money for his performance. Okay, 1 hour, I need $25,000, $30,000. All right. He demanding that money is looking for the same contentment and name or power or money, whatever. And money is only meant for comforts and more, value for himself. The same contentment which a laborer or a person who is living in a deep village, he is trying to find the same amount of contentment in probably 2 morsels of rice. These 2 morsels of rice, a poor villager, when he gets it, how happy he is. For that day, that meal is enough for him. He is so happy. As much as the guy who is performing at the stage for $25,000 an hour is also looking for the same happiness only. But where is he looking for? One is looking for in the money, in the $25,000, whereas the poor farmer is looking for the same joy in 2 cups of rice. Now, when a yogi looks at both of them, he realizes both are looking for the same thing. And the irony is, they are both looking for something outside. But the fact is, it is within themselves. But when they do not know that it is within themselves, they constantly struggle to find it outside. Whereas he who has discovered it is within, he neither looks for these 2 cups of rice to fulfill his mind, nor he would look for, like the musician, look for a sizable amount of money to make him happy. He is happy no matter what. Why? Because he has discovered it himself. And thus when he looks at it out in the world and looks at a person who is greedily doing things in this world, he understands and smiles. Yes, he is looking for the same thing which is already there within himself. Thus, a yogi is what do you call that? A class apart. Is in a different level of consciousness. That's what Gurudev used to say. In the higher state of consciousness. A person does not become greedy, jealous, angry, upset, unhappy about anything that happens in the world outside. He is not. Why? His level of consciousness is very high. His contentment is unimaginable. He's full, he's complete. And when we interact with the people of the world who are greedy about this or that, and until we come across a person of inner contentment, we do not know that we are doing wrong. We are just aping each other. We are just imitating each other. And thus we are in the same rat race which everyone is. Every other person is in the same rat race. And therefore we never consider it as something which is wrong until we meet a person of total contentment. Thus, knowledge of the highest nature, when thus it becomes a wisdom, one's own experience, then alone there is total fulfillment, total contentment. Until then, the journey has to continue. So, for a saint, therefore, there is no stranger. He looks at everyone with the equal eye. And because a person who may not be known to me, a saint would say, is also the same. He's another body, another being. But the purpose is the same. His aspiration is the same. His desire is the same. He may be looking for it somewhere else, but it is the same. It is like when you go to someone's house and they have made sweets. All sweets are sugar only, but it may appear differently. Oh, Swamiji, it's a new sweet I made. Oh, I have never seen it before. Yes, but put it in your mouth. It is sugar. What else? It may appear different. It may have a different texture, but basic thing is sweet. In the same way, the saint, when he looks at the world, everyone is in the same boat. Everyone is looking for the same thing. And therefore, nobody is a stranger. And for everyone, the goal is the same. And everyone is looking for the same. And in everyone, it is the same. Thus, a saint remains pleasant, equal, treating everyone peacefully, and that is the true expression of his wisdom. The next topic which Lord Krishna picks up is the practical tips for meditation. Because in today's world, anything you try to teach, at the end, most of the satsang I've seen, in the end of 1 hour or 1.5 hour talk, people come to me, Swamiji, tell me something which I need to practice. The whole talk may be about practice only, but still they will ask, Swamiji, just to tell me 2 things which I can practice. In the recently, when today we had one session, and then I was talking about the nature of tapas, nature of austerity, and how to take care of the mind and control and all those things. And after having listened to me for an hour, one person came to me and said, Swamiji, therefore tell me how to control my mind. I said the whole 1 hour I was talking about that only. But everybody wants, a short, simple set of things to do. Anyway, Krishna here gives tips for meditation. First and foremost thing is, in setting up or getting ready for meditation, is the environmental adjustments. It is necessary that we need to find a place of solitude for practice of meditation. In the hubbub of things, when the people are busy and a lot of noise around, you cannot actually practice meditation. So in the beginning stages, an individual necessarily has to find exclusive time and place for practicing this. Therefore, Krishna says, Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi stitaha. He uses the word rahasi, means in solitude, in privacy. Meditation should not be done when others are watching you or others are around you. Why? Because, you may be quiet, you may be trying to quieten your mind, but they may not be interested in what you're doing. And they may try to say, okay, you're sitting. Okay, let me ask you one question. Why do you are sitting like this? Why not you go into the other room? Or why not? Why do you need to do this night now? Why not you do in the morning? It's better that when nobody is there, or when everybody is asleep, or before they get up, you start your meditation. Rahasistitah. Because even their thought that is there in their mind can also disturb you. So it is not necessary for you to do it when everybody is around. Find a place. Probably you can walk and then go to the nearest park in early hours of the day, and then go sit quietly amidst the nature. Look at the beauty of the nature around, the chirping birds, the beautiful flowers and waterfall, or just a nice breeze and quiet atmosphere there under a tree, or on a grass when you're able to sit down quietly. Make sure that it's a clean spot. It's not something dirt which you pick it up when you're sitting there, or it is an uneven spot. It's a clean spot, and also make sure that you have a comfortable seat. Because while meditating, you should not feel the restlessness or some kind of a pain, some kind of a back, pain, and other things should not disturb you. And therefore, you need to probably carry a small mat with you and put it down and sit on it, facing a beautiful nature, or facing the ocean, or facing the sunrise, or facing a beautiful picture as well. Whichever is pleasing to your mind, which can make your mind at once quiet and peaceful, make that as your spot and sit quietly. So first, create an environment for the meditation. This is the first thing Sri Krishna says. And ekaki yatachittatma nirashihi aparigraha. Continuing, he says, physical adjustments need to be done. And very important thing is that this meditation requires lot of movement of energy from the base of your body all the way to the top. And for which purpose the back portion of your body should be straight. That is, your head, neck and trunk of your body should be in straight line. This helps to not to fall to the laziness or lethargy or sleepy condition. So back being straight is a very helpful way to meditate. A helpful posture to meditate. So if you are not used to sitting straight, go towards a wall, nearest wall, and make sure that you are not actually leaning on the wall, but take the support of the wall to make sure that everything is straight. Head, neck and the trunk of the body. And by squatting and sitting down, you have the maximum base on the bottom. If you're sitting on a chair, again, don't take the backrest and don't lean on it. Take that as a support to keep it straight and keep your both the feet together on the floor, and don't cross it, and sit in that posture as long as you can. So another important thing which Lord Krishna makes it here is that your eyes should not be moving here and there. In the yogic practices, they say that when the eyes are moving, the mind is active. In the medical sciences, they say rapid eye movement, REM it's called. And that means your mind is active, you are still thinking, you are dreaming, etc. And when there is no REM, no random eye movement, rapid eye movement, that means you are in sleep. So Krishna, having the similar idea here, he says that focus your mental eye in the middle of two eyebrows. Meaning, pay attention with the closed eyes, pay attention to the middle of your eyebrows to make sure that your eyes are kept in one place. Don't strain yourself, don't stress yourself, don't force yourself, but gradually, slowly, quietly make your eyes focus upon the middle of the two eyebrows. So that should be the place where you focus, while you also can engage in watching your incoming breath and outgoing breath. That will also calm your mind with the back straight, head, neck and the body in straight line. sitting in a posture which is maximum base and in a very clean spot. It's ventilated very well and no disturbance from outside. Keep your eyes focused on the middle of the eyebrows and watching your breathing in and breathing out slowly. And now comes the psychological adjustment. The psychological adjustment is where you might have prepared already your mind to have the mastery over your actions and thoughts. At this point, when you are sitting for formal meditation, no plan for action should be kept in your mind. Don't be anxious about what you're going to do after meditation. Let everything stay outside. Keep the world outside. Keep the world outside your room. Do not bring it in now. Let the world wait. Whatever I need to do, I don't need to think about it. And any thought that arises about, okay, I need to do this after this, or I need to call this person, let all those things be slowly subsided. This comes out of practice only. You cannot suddenly make your mind not to think. So therefore, prepare your mind and tell your mind, suggest to your mind, okay, anything that I need to do after the meditation can wait. Let me not be anxious about it. Let me not be worried about it. It is similar to that of going to sleep, where you are ready to sleep. All that you need to do, which is pending to be done, you say, okay, I'll do tomorrow. Why? Because I need to sleep. I'm tired. In the same way, suggest to your mind, anything that needs to be done can wait. Let it wait. And thus let go of the thought. Secondly, Krishna also says two things you must avoid. That is possessiveness and excessiveness. This needs to be practiced in life. As your preparation for meditation, one has to do this. That any kind of possession that you have actually possesses you. And any kind of excessiveness that you have in your mind, I want more of that and I want more of this. In this morist economy, morist philosophy, absolutely there cannot be any rest of mind. No peace of mind can be there when you are thinking about how to increase, how to get more and more and more of things. So, the free of possessiveness and excessiveness is what Krishna calls it as a state of a yogi. And this is a practice, again, it requires the preparation in the beginning itself, and it nirashi aparigraha. That is how they use. Nirashi means no asha or parigraha, no hope or possessiveness. So anything that needs to happen afterwards, later, need to happen or will happen according to the way it needs to happen. Meaning, when you are too anxious about will it happen, this needs to be avoided even in meditation. Some people say, oh, in meditation something will happen. Nothing will happen externally. Do not even worry about it. You will not suddenly start flying in meditation. So meditation is not for any external siddhis or some kind of a power. That is not the purpose in Vedanta. So you do not worry about what will be happening after meditation. Will I be able to meditate at all? Will I be having a quiet mind? Will my mind become cheerful? Will I look bright? All sort of questions people ask. So do not have any more anxiety about what will be the result of meditation. And don't get addicted to meditation also. Yeah. Some people say, I have to do it no matter what, and it becomes like an addiction. It's not like, it should not become like drinking a coffee. I have to do it. No. The going into meditation is a gliding into that state. It is not a forceful entry. It is not that, okay, at this point, 10 o'clock or at around this particular time, I need to sit down, no matter what. It is not a, suddenly you cannot switch off your mind from thinking or from worrying, etc. It has to be prepared slowly. It is like a flower opening up, a bud becoming a flower. It is such a very slow and steady opening up. So meditation is a state which you gradually glide into. It is not an activity which you can plan to do. It is something you prepare yourself to get in. Therefore, the nirashi aparigraha. In the world also, one must have less of possessiveness and excessiveness. And about meditation also, one should not become an addict. One should not expect something to happen at the end of meditation. It is a journey to let go and not to own up. It is a journey to sacrifice, not to possess more. It is a journey to rise above, not to fall in. So please understand, meditation has to be done with a lot of attention. And we will be seeing more about what needs to be done exactly at the time of meditation. Here is only still practical tips for getting ready there. And what exactly you would be doing, that we will see in the following presentation. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhat Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.